everybody. Welcome to Hypnosis Shop Talking Morning Coffee with me, Jen Snow, your soul regression therapist. So today we were talking about the solstice, but first off, good morning, Purple Princess. Good morning, Alex. Yes, Alex TGIF. It is Friday, and it's Friday. Thank goodness. I was feeling it today. I've been on the coast working, which means that my days are a little bit extended and a little more when it comes to that kind of thing. So thought I'd had yesterday off just because of traveling back and forth, but I, being me, didn't actually book the day off. I just assumed it would be there, and it wasn't. So a little tired this morning. That's why we're a little bit later than 7:30, because I might have hit the snooze button. And we all know what happens when we hit the snooze button. We close our eyes and we go deeper down into that restful place. So yeah, so that snooze button was not my friend this morning, but we're here, we're ready, and I've got coffee. So all of you who are joining us this morning, cheers. Good morning. I hope you're enjoying your cup of coffee, or you did enjoy your cup of coffee, depending on where your day was at. Summer solstice this week. It was a thing this week. I got to tell you, the energy pre-solstice was really high. It was really vibing. A lot of people were really on that, kind of riding that wave, and then it kind of hit and came in the aftermath. The aftermath has been a bit interesting. Now, I know with those of us who are here in the summer solstice, we love our longer days. I don't know about you guys, but I freaking love my longer days. I love it being later. I love that opportunity to spend more time in nature, or I'm going to be really honest, where you finish work and you're like, oh, it's not pitch black outside. This is great. And I tend to take advantage of that. But I don't always manage, the going to bed at that regular time that I normally would in the wintertime. I kind of extend it and I push it, but I still get up at the same time. So I do lose a little bit of sleep. And so some of that exhaustion comes from enjoying that longer day, but not actually making up the ground with sleep or giving up that sleep. So although we're getting more of that energy from the sun than we normally do, but that is something that can definitely contribute to this time of year where we have these beautiful energies that we are connecting with, that we're flowing with, that we're riding the wave with. But we got to remember that it can, if we allow it, put us outside of our normal rhythms. And I was watching this TikTok, because we're live on TikTok here too, because like we did last time, we're doing it again. And so those of you who are on TikTok, if I missed your comments, not intentional, it's just to go back and forth. I don't have a stand quite yet that puts my phone here, so I can read both. So I do apologize, but please come join us either here on the Journey with Jen Snow, or on YouTube, or here on TikTok, wherever you want to be. Just let's have fun. Let's have some coffee. So back to the solstice energy. So the energy of harvesting. At this point, we are in the space of harvesting, and that means something a little different for everybody. When I talk about the, really sitting with the energy of the harvest, it is sitting with the energy of what you've been, what you started to grow in the spring, what you've been focusing on, where your attention has been. And the one message that I got from the solstice energy a week before the solstice, which it was really going into the space of gratitude for what was and what will be, but really in that gratitude space, and just kind of naming the things that I was focusing on, naming the things that I was working on, and where my attention was, and sitting with them and recognizing, how does that feel for me? How does that feel internally? And taking stock of that, because I know we get on these paths and we get our focus going and directed in one lane, and sometimes we forget to take time to step back and go, is this where I want to be? Is this giving me what I needed it to give me, or expected it to give me? And again, that word expectation, because that will tell you a lot too. If we expect, utilizing that kind of thought pattern, we can shift what something truly is, because our expectations can kind of create fog, or it can guide us in a different direction. I'm not saying don't have standards and boundaries. I've said that forever, but expectations can impose upon your belief system on something, so we don't see the truth of something, and we need to step back and allow ourselves to really see it and feel it. And I am a feeling kind of person. Never really admitted this so out loud, but I feel everything. I'm very empathic, but when I check in with things, it's not what I see in my head first. It's what I feel first and know first that comes forward. So when my intuitive conversation and my intuitive gifts come forward, I start with the knowing, the feeling, and then I go and see the images, and the picture unfolds itself in a clear movie for me. Or I hear the voices and things like that, or I hear the communication verbally. So my trend goes like this. And because I know that, I can utilize that in my way of working through my own stuff, or just kind of simply sitting with where I'm at right now, what I'm focusing on, what that means to me, what that feels like for me. And if that feeling does align with where I want to be, then I know I need to follow this thread further. And if it doesn't, then I need to figure out what's causing that breakage, that change. Because I usually, when we get focused on things, we don't always dive in head first, but we dive in, we kind of feel things out, we see how things are, we kind of wiggle through them, and keep checking in. And so the harvest energy was really the insight that I got while meditating from my guides, was step back and really feel into what it is that you've been putting your attention in, what you've been nourishing and nurturing, and what you've been attempting to grow. And I say attempting because some of the things that I have been attempting to grow haven't grown. They've been kind of stunted, right? And I'm just sitting there and I've been patient with them. I haven't been like, okay, I'm going to give up on you. Clearly I've did some, this isn't lining up. But kind of assessing what it is that I was trying to grow and why some things have blossomed and some things have just kind of stayed at this, that if you think about your garden, your vegetable garden, some things sprout, some things take a little bit longer. Everything has a timing. That's a hard one. Everything has a timing. I don't like that one, but I do like that one. But I don't like that one when the timing doesn't line up how I want it to time. And I mean, that's pretty, we're pretty much like that all the time, right? And asking that question, is this just the timing of things? Do I need to keep, watering this part of my garden? And is that going to find its own timing? And I ask those questions, and I've learned in meditations to ask questions, but the answers don't always come as quick as I want them to. But they do come if I get out of my way. If I don't sit there and be like, oh, I didn't get that answer so clearly, if I just put it out there, let it go, and watch it come back to me when it does. And it's the seeking and allowing. I stop seeking the answer and I allow it to come to me. And I know that the timing of that answer will line up with my next step. And I may not always agree with the timing. I'm not going to lie. I spent decades of my life fighting timing. Yeah, when I think back, decades. I have fought timing on every turn of the radio, of the journey, up until this last couple of years. And that's kind of a funny realization to come to right now. When I was in 2010, when I first lost my sight, I had these beautiful friends that would take me to, these gatherings where spiritual people would come together, and they were always willing to drive me, always willing to take me there. And I got a reading. I decided I was going to do a reading. And typically in my history, except for, I have been really hard to read. And I know it's because my guides don't want to give out too much at this moment because of my reaction to a reading I got when I was 16. I went the opposite direction because I didn't want to be told what to do. Great learning lesson. Great. I don't regret it, but it's kind of funny when I look back. I'm like, this might be why. They're like, no bueno. We're not telling you anything. You're going to have to figure this out on your own, because clearly when we help you out, if you don't like the version of how we're going to help you, you choose differently. It's fair. That's who I was at 16. Definitely who I was at 16. 100%. Own it. I wasn't ready for that information per se. I wasn't ready to hear the information. I was ready for the information. If I really look back at that moment when I met this medium intuitive at Safeway, grocery shopping with my mom, She was dating my uncle's brother, and I think they came from Alberta. I think that's where they were. And they, my poor aunt, she was so excited to see them. And this poor woman was like, yeah, I didn't come for you. I came for her. And I'm like, me? And, you know, me being me, and at that time, I was way more like perfect. She did. Totally did. She did tell me something that at that point was not public knowledge. And so I shut up and I listened, but I didn't like what she said. What I needed to hear, 100%. Totally own that. Needed to hear that for sure, but didn't want to hear it. So I thought to myself, well, if that's what the universe wants, well, they're just going to have to accept this part of my life, and off we go, right? No. So I definitely spent a lot more time fighting timing and pushing things away. And then when I went to this reading in 2010, I was kind of at that breaking point where I had figured out that maybe fighting that reading when I was 16 was really not where I should have gone in the world. And but that's okay, because I understood my purpose, I understood my lessons, I understood, what I was supposed to do and all of that. And I appreciated the fact that I could look back at that experience now and go, okay, I would not really maybe go to that extreme. Yes, Walker, since I've come home, has been my shadow. So yeah, he's going to hang out with us. And, kind of gave me a lot of insight, reflection. I was able to, not make that same choice again if I didn't, but if something doesn't resonate with you, you don't have to own it, kind of thing. I just didn't want to hear it. I knew it resonated. It 100% resonated, but I just didn't want to hear it. So, but I was really in this space where I had spent so much time like denying myself and denying who I was and what I could do and tapping into myself. I was totally afraid of myself. That I was desperate for somebody to give me advice. So I went to this reading, and it was funny. They were like, oh, in 5 years, everything's going to change, and everything in 5 years, you will rediscover what it is that you're seeking now. I was so mad about that. When I say mad. I didn't want to wait 5 years. I wanted it now. I wanted it now. And so, the reading was great. Do not get me wrong. But I remember having to sit with the timing of things, and having to surrender to that timing of, okay, if I keep moving forward, I'm not going to stop taking action. But if, we'll see what happens in 5 years. Funny enough, 5 years, totally everything shifted. Big things happened in 5 years when it came to, I found hypnotherapy school. I found my next life path. I found my next part of my mission, all of that soul mission, literally started to line up. And I actually didn't think about the reading until after, and I kind of giggled. I'm like, well, thank God. I kind of forgot about the details of the reading. I did write them down so I could go back to them, but I may have fought some things, or I may have tried to, force some things. And so forcing things doesn't always work. That doesn't, staying in action and staying in flow will help. But, I can get very like, no, in that way. Like, okay, I know it. Let's do it. Let's get on it. Let's make it happen. And so that's part of my Capricorn. And so when I was meditating on the solstice, talking about the fact that, we are in this space of harvesting, and this energy of harvest, and not only thinking about the things that I focused on now and had been growing and, nurturing and nourishing, but also kind of a reflection on the past, and looking back at the journey and being grateful for it, and seeing how that journey is helping where I am today. And so I had this moment of just kind of contemplation and reflection, and it was pretty incredible to see how far we've come. There aren't all good moments. Don't get me wrong. There are some really crappy moments, and I don't need to relive, but there are more better moments that have helped shaped and helped me define who I want to be in this world, and how I want to, my pebble and the ripple effect that I want to put out there. So taking this time, even in the backside of the solstice, is taking a little bit of time. I found really kind of release some of that drop off, that energy. We're high and now we're hitting, we're coming back down the valley. And so if you're feeling that, that is one way to kind of sit there and kind of like honor the energy that we are able to absorb during the harvest, but also kind of sit with it and see where it takes you. One thing of my experience with this solstice was very interesting. Something I've never experienced ever in my entire life was 4 seasons. I literally got to experience all 4 seasons driving home, because I was driving back from the coast to Vernon, BC. And coming through the mountains, in this one spot in the mountains, it went from beautiful sunshine to spring-like rain to snow. It totally snowed. Back to spring-like rain and back to sunshine. And it was just one of those funny little things that I mean, I've never seen snow on the 21st of June. I mean, I know somewhere, I know in the world, there are places in the world they do, but not here. And so it was kind of neat. I kind of felt like I was in this kaleidoscope of awe and shock, definitely shock, coming through the mountains and experiencing all of the weather patterns that were happening on the 21st, our solstice, like where we're, it's the first day of summer, and that last little like effort of spring and winter to be a part of this process, to be a part of this transition, and to make their presence known was kind of neat. And it was a very different feel to driving through the mountains at each stage of it, because I knew what was happening. I was like, oh, we're in this spring-like weather, like that spring rain, and it was smelled like spring rain. And I don't know about you guys, but spring rain has this smell to it, and fall has a smell to it, and then we got into the snow, and I was a little shocked. I'm like, is that snow on the road? Oh my God, is that snow? Like, that's snow. All right then. And I did make a couple phone calls. I'm like, you're not going to believe this. And then we get into like, the spring rain, and that smell came back, and it moved into this warmth of sun. So it was kind of neat. I've never experienced that. I don't know about you guys, but it was interesting to see Mother Nature and her seasons kind of pushing us into the solstice, pushing us into the summer, saying we're still here. Our energy still exists. Just because you can't see us doesn't mean you can't tap into us and enjoy that energy at any time. And that was kind of the other message I got with that, was that even though we don't have snow in the summertime, that winter energy is still around, and that fall and spring energy is still there, and not to forget about them, and not to forget about the presence and essence of those seasons as we move through into our summertime. And yes, I mean, I'm a total summer girl. I love my summers, I love my hot weather, but I love the beauty of snow as well. So just taking that kind of all like perspective perhaps into these next parts of these seasons. So that was my summer solstice. That was my adventure. Wisconsin gets all seasons weekly here. Well, it's crazy. Like, I actually was just shocked. Like, the spring and rain is awesome. Like, I don't know, the smell, Purple Princess. Oh, that smell. And it was really rich in the mountains. Like, the presence of those seasons was that you could smell it. Like, it was just, that first spring rain that you get, and you just, everything, that vibrant fragrance of Mother Earth sharing that explosion of life coming back, that more active time, from a time of stillness and quiet and introspection to more outgoing and life, like it coming back to your space. And it was just I love it so much. It's my favorite. I mean, I would like summer warmth with the spring weather. And my friend from your way said the same thing. I know. I just couldn't. I was more. I honestly, I was driving. I was like, what is happening? Like, I honestly thought I had a Twilight Zone moment where it went from every season. I was like, okay, am I still here on Earth? What timeline did I step into? And where's the access of the Earth right now? And what is happening? So, but it did make for a really interesting drive, a really beautiful drive. And, it's funny. There's one part on the connected that I drive from Merritt to Kelowna. And there's this beautiful landscape. As you're coming down, it's on your right-hand side. And I believe it was a mine in the past, but now it's all grass. And it's one of my favorite scenes, in the, green, and then in the wintertime, it's just this beautiful rolling hill of white snow. And it always catches my breath. And I always seem to notice it when I'm coming or leaving Kelowna. And no matter what, every single time I drive. And it was just before that spot that the snow had hit and was hitting. And it was kind of funny because that entire landscape was this beautiful lush green, and it was just stunning. So we came out of the white into that lushness, and it was very vibrant. The color was that neon summer green, like spring green grass. And it was just, it was pretty epic. So taking time to notice those little things and enjoy, and maybe, spending time figuring out how those moments resonate with you and what they bring you and how you resonate with them. And, finding ways to continue to find moments that, for me, that brings me joy. That beauty of nature brings me a moment of joyfulness and peace and connection. And so I try to find those, or allow myself to discover those moments once a day, and just to have that reset of, that is where my foundational energy I want it to be. That's where my presence and the essence that I bring into the world. That's, I try to find and allow time for that. And that is one of the things when we are harvesting our energy, and we're working through the bounty of things that we're creating and nurturing. How are you nurturing yourself, and how are you creating space around you in this chaotic world, because we all know it's chaos, to feed your soul, to fill your cup, so that when you move forward, your cup is more full for you, which then becomes your ripple effect. And I know somebody, my husband would be the first to say, it's hard, and I know we get stuck in things, but if we can take a little bit of time, a minute, 2 minutes a day, and just allow ourselves to find that presence that brings us that joy and peacefulness, that centerness, like coming back to home just for a moment, those moments begin to compound, and those moments begin to expand, and those moments begin to continue to fill that cup that is yours, so that your essence and your presence is more in flow with how you want it to be versus how it could be based on the external world around you. So anyhow, that is the solstice. That is one of my experience this year, and I thought I would share it. I hope that you guys are having a good day. And it's Friday, which for most of you probably means that we're coming to the end of the week. So you guys get some time to go out and enjoy, do you, and have some fun, take some time for self-reflection, or just, spending time with friends and family, whatever that might be, whatever your weekend looks like. I hope it's amazing. And I want to thank you for your time and energy here, and joining me here on TikTok and YouTube. So for those of you who are new to this, and I know on TikTok, I'm new to this live side of things. We do Monday meditations. We will be back live Monday night, and we will be doing Monday meditation. We will be doing a crown chakra activation. So the last part of this chakra series, we are moving into the crown chakra. For those of you who want to look back on the Journey with Jen Snow on YouTube, you guys can find the rest of this series. We started with the root chakra. We have worked our way up not last week, but the week before we did the third eye activation. And now we're going to do the crown chakra activation. So hugs to you too, Purple Princess. I hope you have an amazing day. And your mom's pictures are amazing, by the way. Amazing. So please let her know I said that. All right, guys. Have a great day. I will talk to you. Well, we'll do more of this, and we will see you Monday for meditation. And if you guys, if you go ahead and subscribe to the channel, you'll get that notification. I think we're going to do it a little bit earlier. I think we're looking at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, but I just have to double check the schedule and see where we're at. So, all right. Cheers.